Okay, so hey guys, my name is Ainsley. I'm going into my fourth year of GBDA. So I'm more familiarized with the whole Adobe Creative Suite. Um, Adobe Rush just came out about 2 years ago. And it's another just video editing software, but in my experience, I think it's less daunting and more intuitive than Premiere Pro. So it's just good for beginners or just for quick, easy editing. I would just recommend not editing videos longer than 20 minutes through Rush. But yeah, the three things I'd say that sticks out with Rush is its speed, its flexibility, and even though it has restrictions and limitations, it's still compatible with the whole Adobe suite, so you'll be able to see that later on. So this is when you launch Rush. As you can see, this is all my projects that I have. When I say flexibility, Adobe Rush, you're able to kind of sync all your devices with its auto-saving feature. Everything will be uploaded to the cloud, so you don't have to worry about it crashing on you and you didn't save or anything like that. So these little icons here at the bottom of each project, the ones with the cloud means it's synced. So if I were to stop editing on my desktop and go to my laptop, let's say, it will be synced already on there. Or if you wanted to record on your phone and upload it through the app on there, you can do that and then it will pop up on the desktop and you can do the editing on the desktop, which is really nice. So yeah, whether it's a mobile, tablet, or a desktop, almost all the interfaces are user-friendly. They're all similar, quite intuitive. So that's what those means. When it's just the desktop, it means it's just on that specific device. And you can also turn off this feature by just clicking the three dots below. And that's where you can rename, turn the sync off, delete everywhere, duplicate, all that kind of stuff. So to create a new project, you can either do it two ways. Click this blue button up here or go into File, New, and start a new project. So this is where you can import your files from your desktop, your documents, your downloads, all that kind of stuff. Notice how when I click videos, numbers pop up, and that is the order that they will appear on your timeline, which is nice. Rush offers great royalty-free sound and music that anyone can use. So feel free to go through those. If you hover over them and see that like kind of rectangle here, you can expand it and sort of play it before you add to it, so you can preview it and be like, oh, that's pretty dramatic, I'll add that one. So yeah, you have that opportunity to preview all those as well. They also have sample media, which for this video, I'll be using these. So that's sort of the order that I want them, let's say. You can title your project down here below, and you can decide whether you want to sync it right away to the cloud or not, and just hit create. And while that imports, that's one way to import your videos right away, or you can simply just drag and drop from your desktop into your timeline. And that's also another way to import videos. Or you can also click on this blue icon up here with the plus sign, and there you can add a new title, new media, or record a voiceover if you wish. So that's also another way to do it. The bin at the bottom shows all your project assets, so all the original files when you first imported them. So let's say you don't want these two videos anymore on your timeline, just delete those, but they're still here in your project assets, so you can always bring them back. As well, same feature, the three dots, you can open it up and preview here on the corner and scrub through if you wish to see if you're selecting the right video and whatnot. You can also filter in alphabetical order or filter it so you can only see the video, audio, images, because this can get quite full if you're editing multiple videos. So that's a project assets. So this is your workspace pretty much. You got your taskbar at the top, your editing controls on the left, your monitor controls down below, and these are your features here. So we'll start, I guess, with the editing features, or I guess the timeline. Yeah, we'll start with the timeline. So when you're going through a video, when it's highlighted orange, that means it's selected. If you want to zoom in or zoom out of your timeline, you have this option where you can this bar here, you can scroll through, or the two dots on the side, you can either zoom out or zoom in to make it wider. That's one way to do it. Or there's also the two lines here in the corner. This adjusts your whole monitor size. So if the screen here is too big to preview, you can make it smaller so that you can focus more on editing the videos. So that's another way. I personally enjoy shortcuts on my keyboard, so I reduce moving my cursor all around the screen. So the hacks to do that, if you want to zoom in, it's the plus keyboard, the plus key on your keyboard. Beside the delete button would be to zoom in. And then to zoom out is just the one right beside it of the dash. That's to zoom out. And if you want to fit the whole timeline to your screen, simply just click the slash button to the right, which is above your enter button on your keyboard, and it automatically zooms out to fit your timeline. So that's a whole workspace. This is your editing functions here. So you got your splice tool, duplicate, and then trash. If you hover on top of these icons, these tools, a little kind of description, definition pops up, the name and with the keyboard shortcuts, which is nice. So to split, yeah, simply just move your playhead wherever you'd like, and you can either split clicking that icon, or you can tap the letter S on your keyboard and it will split right there for you. So that's one way to split. To duplicate, you can click this button, or you can hit the letter D on your keyboard and it also deletes it, or duplicates it as well. And then to delete it, I don't think there's a shortcut for that. So you're just gonna have to press the backspace on your keyboard. Down here, this is another way, I guess you can expand sort of your timeline. The first one is to expand audio. So let's say, as you can see here, this video of these two people, there's audio at the bottom, the blue. But let's say you can't see that, you can simply just click expand audio and it kind of breaks it apart and it shows these icons that show which one's music and which one's speaking. As well, if you right click, you can also separate the audio that way, expand the audio that way, duplicate, delete. So there are multiple ways to do each sort of function. And you can also do that with the audio as well, if you wanted to see sort of the wavelengths. And then the one here at the bottom is to control your tracks. So when you click that button, you expand all your tracks. And with Adobe Rush, you are only limited to 4 video tracks and 3 audio tracks. So yeah, this is mainly used, I guess, for layering. If you want to layer your videos, and layering is often used if you want to showcase more than one video playing at the same time. So for example, if you wanted to kind of split the screen so that this is showing with this clip, you just hover on top of it or bring it over to the second track. And tracks are kind of organized so that the first one gets top priority. So whatever's on the top will play on top of the one, yeah, on top of the ones below the clips. So just organize it, yeah, sort of that way. What I like to do is have videos on the first 2 tracks and then save transitions for the 3rd and the 4th track, let's say. So yeah, these 3 icons here, you got a lock, you got a volume button, and you got an I for video and microphone for audio. The lock buttons, you just simply lock your tracks, and this is helpful when you're trying to move around videos. For example, if I wanted to move this first one to the end, if I move it, notice how it's also selecting the audio and the track at the top, and that's because they're all linked together to this track. So if I just locked these tracks, then I can simply move it around. And when you're moving videos, I notice on the first track, it automatically snaps to each other. Whereas if you move it to the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th track, if you're moving videos, it doesn't snap right away. So you'll have to manually kind of bring that. But that black line, as it acts as a guide to where it will snap. And you can also turn off the snapping feature by going up to sequence. Again, another way you can zoom in, zoom out, or add things, but I have snapping on and I have playing audio while scrubbing off. So this is just a way of just personal preference settings as you wish. So I'm just gonna move that. So that's good for using the block toggle. The mute toggle is also if you want to sort of, yeah, just mute your tracks. Let's say you want to focus on what they're saying and not hear the audio, just mute it. And that way you can focus on what they're saying.
Good morning, Philippines.
Guess what we're
And same thing with view.
gonna go do again.
So even though it's scrubbing on top of it, it's not shown because the track is blocked off. So yeah, so that's your editing features. Next, I guess we'll go to our like functions. So up here we have, again, if you hover on top, it shows each definition and shortcut. First, we'll start with titles. There's a nice variety here of titles that you can add. Let's say you want to put, you can go up to centered ones or captions or lower thirds, whichever. If you don't like any of these variety, then you can always add more through Adobe Stock, which is another software through Adobe. Or you can click on these three dots at the top and you can install a template that you found on the internet or that you created by yourself. It's up to you. And that's just another way to organize the titles and stuff. So we're just gonna add one. So I'm sure we'll add one right there. And there's two ways to edit. You can either click this button that says edit right beside styles and expand those, and that's how you can edit, or you can double click. And if you double click, you'll be able to edit whatever you want it to say. So 2020. This is where you can change font. Again, if you're not satisfied with all the fonts they offer, Adobe Font is another great site that offers more free downloadable fonts. You can change the style, add shadows, outline. You can use the color picker to choose colors from within the frame, spacing, all that kind of stuff. So for size, you'll see a lot of kind of these toggle things, adjustments to adjust these features. So you can simply just click on the circle and adjust that way, or you can hover on top of the number, and if you click and hold down and drag to the right, it will increase it. If you click, drag, and hold to the left, it will decrease it. Or if you're like me, I'm super like OCD when it comes to that thing, to these kind of things. I like to work like whole numbers. So yeah, so that's one way to do titles. Next is transitions. As you can see, there's not really a big variety of transitions you have here. I like to dip to white in the beginning of my videos and dip to black at the end of the videos, and maybe add some cross dissolves in between, in the middle, or keep those jump cuts. It's up to you. You can, if you scrub over it, hover over it, and go to the edges of each transition or even the video, your cursor will change, and that's how you can expand it or move it around wherever you'd like. Or you can also click edit, which is right beside presets, and that's another way that you can adjust the duration of it. So yeah, so that's transitions. The next is color. So if you want to color correct any videos, this is how you can do it. Rush has these built-in presets already. So you can go through and pick whichever you'd like. And you can also intensify down here below, like so. For this video, I want the blues to pop out more, so just go through which one. I like SL Fuji. And then if you don't like any of these presets, or you want to build off these presets, you can click edit. And this is where it goes into more advanced, I guess, features and edits where you can play around with exposure contrast, highlights, darken shadows, temperature, saturation, all that kind of stuff. In advance, you can go into sharpening some things or adding vignette and feathering, all that kind of stuff. And let's say you created a preset and you want to keep it to apply it to all of your other videos to keep it consistent. You can click on the 3 dots here and just click create preset, give it a name, blues. Save, hit enter to save or click save, and then click on your presets, and down below, that's where your presets are. So I just simply click on the video that I want to apply the preset to, and it does so. So that's color correction. Next is speed. So this is where you can, I guess, adjust the duration of the video clips as fast as 1,000 or as slow as 10%. So yeah, that's a way to speed it up. I haven't really played around with ramp, so I'm not too sure what that does. I'm sorry. So yeah, we'll go on to audio. So audio is where you can play around with your volume. That's your basic edits. If it's uneven, you can make clips louder than others, whatever. You can also mute it that way. If you go into advanced and open channels, you can see, let's start with music. You can see that there are different features. So for music, for example, there's this auto ducking feature that Adobe Rush has, which is great because if you just click it, it simply turns down the background music whenever it picks up on someone talking. So if you click on it, actually, I will expand my timeline a bit bigger, and we're focusing on the audio clip right now. So when I click that auto ducking, notice how it dips when it needs to, and it increases. So that's a great feature. You can also reduce it, adjust that size. So that's a great feature. Let's say we're not editing music, we want to edit actual voice clips. Usually Adobe Rush picks it up really well and it changes. It notices it's a voice. Otherwise, you can just hover over here and you can change it to whichever type. And when it is voice, you have these great options to balance sound, reduce background noise, reduce echo, enhance speech, all that kind of stuff. You simply just have to check them off. So this is the thing about Adobe Rush, it does it all for you automatically. Whereas Premiere Pro, if you want to do it more manually, and you don't like how Adobe Rush kind of did the edits for you, you can move the file over to Premiere Pro to go more in depth with editing, that sort of stuff. But it does a pretty good job, I'd say. And you can even like enhance the speech based on the gender and change all the intensity and all that kind of stuff. I haven't also really dabbled with channels, but I'm assuming that's editing your left and right headphone when you have headphones on. So yeah, so that's with sound. The last feature is transform. So this is where you can adjust your positioning, your opacity, your rotation, your proportions, all that kind of stuff. You can even crop, for example, and add, again, feathering. This is good if you want to, I'd say, maybe split your screen to show multiple things at once. So let's say you have a professor and you want to showcase her teaching on a board on the left side, and then on the right side you can show like a visual of it then, or a different perspective or a different angle that can go on the right side. During this morning's session they kind of asked to go more in depth, so I'm just going to show you an example. So for example, like this here, if we wanted to make this smaller and kind of move it in the corner so that, and this is when layering comes in.
Guess what we're gonna go to again.
So that's sort of when you use layering, and if you want to adjust your transform and all that kind of stuff. So that's all the functions there that Adobe Rush offers. On monitor controls, you got your play, your pause. This skips per frame, these two arrows here, right and then the 2 at the end will jump by clip. So yeah. One thing though that kind of sucks about Rush is that you don't have markers. You can't place markers like OpenShot does and like what Premiere Pro does. So just something hopefully they'll add in sometime soon. And you can always provide feedback up here about the interface or whatever. And as well, these 2 arrows, you can undo and redo something. Let's say you made a mistake. You can just simply click those to undo something that you did or redo. Or again, the shortcut for that would be hold down Command on your keyboard, which is besides spacebar, and tap Z on MacBooks. And then for Windows, I think it's Control Z is to Command. So I love that feature. I always undo things. Anyways, so okay, and then last we have these 3 here. So this is to show full screen. Minimize. This is to auto loop, so videos like Instagram where they just loop continuously. If you want that, you just click that. This is also pretty great. This is orientation or aspect ratio, I should say. So let's say you're editing in landscape and all of a sudden you want to edit in portrait because you're moving onto your phone. You simply just change it and it automatically does it for you. It's amazing, and it just edits for you. And again, if you don't like the way it did it for you, you can adjust it manually in the transform function. So yeah, I love that. It's a great feature. Last but not least, I guess, would be to share. So once you're done with your project, you go up top here and click share. Again, with Rush, everything is auto-saved, so you don't have to worry about saving, but if you want to save it to your local device as an MP4, like fully exported video, you just turn on that toggle there beside local. Also, you can automatically upload it to your social medias, just turn those on. You can also go through and adjust each of these settings based on your preference. For example, YouTube, you can put your thumbnail in there. You can also change advanced settings so that instead of the preset custom, it will be, you know, YouTube 1080 and HD and whatever. So that's pretty great. But Rush automatically like picks the best settings for you based on your media. So often I don't have to change these settings. And yeah, so up here is where you change your file name. You can save it to a place that you know you'll find it. File size and advanced settings, yeah, it just, again, frame rate, resolution, all that stuff. You can preview your video here before you export it, just making sure it looks the way you want it to, which is great because Premiere Pro is a little bit slower when it comes to rendering, in my opinion. So I have a hard time playbacking my videos and trying to see what I've created. And you can also do full screen and whatnot. And yeah, that's about it. So anything that I missed or whatever, or exactly what I went through, is available in the glossary. And shortcuts are also available. There's a link in that shared doc of our daily training agenda schedule thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it.